Hi everyone, and welcome to another video in the character animation series. In this video, I'll explain the difference between pose-to-pose and straight-ahead animation techniques, and I'll show the best method that I'll be using throughout the series. This method is also used by character animators for films, TV shows, and such. So let's get straight into it with straight-ahead animation. In straight-ahead animation, you start from the beginning and you animate frame by frame till the end. When played back, this gives the illusion of movement. And this is how 2D animation used to be done. And also reminds me of how flipbook animation was made back in the days of school. By the way, for those who don't know what flipbook animation is, we used to draw these stick characters in the corners of our school textbooks, page after page. And when you flip through the pages quick enough, you'd sort of see those stick characters come to life. This was a great form of entertainment for us school students back then, especially when we used to sit through those boring history classes. So, what's the good thing about straight-ahead animation? It's great for spontaneous and fresh animation. You can be sure that your animations will look authentic and fresh. However, the main issue is that it is hard to adjust timing and poses should you need to make a change later on. So for example, say you have a character walking and then jumps, and later on you decide, no, it needs to jump a little bit earlier. Well, you'd either have to redo the whole animation again, or you'd have to delete portions of your animations where you want the jump to occur exactly, and then reanimate from there. Also, in terms of timing, if you need your character to walk from point A to point B in exactly 4 seconds, you better make sure that by the 4th second, the character reaches point B. And this is a little bit difficult to guarantee with straight-ahead animation technique, unless you have a very, very good eye for distance and all that kind of stuff. In pose-to-pose, however, specific key poses are blocked in first. That means that you set specific poses for the character at specific times. So if I use the earlier example of the jumping, for example, you can create a pose of the character about to walk on the first frame, and at a later frame, set another pose of the character about to jump. So in this example, on frame 1, I have this character about to walk, and on frame 10, he looks suspicious, maybe because there's someone hiding behind a tree or something. And at frame 20, he realizes, no, there's no one there, and there's not even a tree over there. I don't know, he just realized that he's a little bit, I don't know. You can then break the task even smaller and create more specific poses in between the key poses that you've already made. Thus, pose-to-pose is great for planned animation. With this technique, you're certain to get the timing right. In other words, the character is certain to start at point A and to reach point B in 4 seconds. Pose-to-pose is also flexible in the sense that later on, should you want to make a change, for the character to reach point B in 6 seconds instead of the 4 seconds that we originally said, or to do a little wiggle somewhere at the 2-second mark, this is much easier to do in pose-to-pose compared to having to delete portions of animations like in straight-ahead animation, which can be frustrating, and trust me, it'll make you feel like you just want to kill yourself. So pose-to-pose can do this painlessly and is much quicker than straight-ahead. The downside of pose-to-pose, however, is that it can look a bit fake when all body parts land a specific pose at the same time. I don't know, this might be a little bit difficult to explain, but for example, say for the jump animation, you'll have 3 poses. So the first pose might be the anticipation as he's about to jump, and the second pose is the jump at the highest point, and the third pose is his landing. So with the pose-to-pose method, as his feet touches the ground, he's already in that landing pose, which is odd. So from the 12 principles video, we know that there needs to be overlapping or some follow-through action. That is, when the feet touches the ground, the rest of the body should follow shortly after, should drag. They should not land at the same time. So this was the example that I used from the 12 principles video, and it shows it quite well. When the body is moved, the head sort of drags back before it reaches its final pose. If the head moved at the same time as the body, it will look fake, it will look robotic. So pose-to-pose doesn't handle the situation that well in that sense. So, what's the best method to use in character animation then? Well, the rule that I use is, you start with pose-to-pose, and you end with straight ahead. And this is usually a method that is used by 3D animators for films, and is also a technique that I've employed in my own films. You would first block out the main and very important actions, and then review it, have it checked by the director. If you're doing a film on your own for YouTube or Newgrounds or something like that, then have it checked by family, friends, and so on. That way you get a fresh perspective on your work, and they can note mistakes that you probably wouldn't have even noticed because you're probably so into your work at the time and you think it's good enough. So once you get all the feedback and that kind of stuff, you would then go and refine the animation again with the post-to-post technique. And then later on fill in the gaps, the in-between poses, with the straight-ahead animation technique. Remember that straight-ahead animation technique is usually done last. And when I say last, I mean at the very last, when we're really sure we don't need to make any more changes to the animation. Using a combined post-to-post and straight-ahead animation technique ensures that you get the best of both worlds. A spontaneous, fresh animation with correct timing and such. So that's it. I hope you learned from this video and found it useful. Much more videos to come out as I release a video each week. Please drop a comment below leaving your feedback, thoughts, etc. as it will really help me give me more quality tutorials in future. I'm always looking to improve myself and get better, so any feedback at all, just please feel free. In the next video, I'll discuss the basic workflow I take to make character animations. This is the workflow that I will use in the later videos when we finally start making our own character animations. The next video will sort of outline how I go about doing it, sort of like a guide. Blender users, just a few more videos to go through before we finally get into using Blender. Understanding the concepts can go a long way in making your character animations just that bit better. And please also subscribe, like, and all that other stuff. And if you're free, just check out my website as well, as I do have other tips and tutorials on there. Hope to see you in the next video, and thank you for watching.